Okay, I watched some of those video responses. I did want to mention something here, and what that something is there's two presumptions going on. And until we can have the same presumption, we're not going to get anywhere with our dialogue. The atheists are presuming that because there is no evidence for God, that he doesn't exist, and the monotheists are stating that just because there is no evidence for God, that does not mean that he does not exist. What I would say, logically, if you think about it logically, we have no evidence for where the author or authors of fairy tales came from. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Rapunzel, so on and so forth, and religious ideas. We do know that they came from certain continents and countries, but we don't know exactly, we can't exactly pinpoint, if I'm not mistaken, we cannot exactly pinpoint where they started. Like, once again, Snow White and Seven Dwarfs, Rapunzel. Yeah, those came from Germany, but where specifically did they come from? They may not have necessarily shown up in Germany. They could have been popular in Germany and come from somewhere else. But once again, just because there is no proof that fairy tales had an author does not mean that they don't have an author. And also that does not mean that those fairy tales don't exist. They most definitely do. You go rent a movie from Blockbuster or Family Video or something like that, and you'll see good enough that Walt Disney has spent a good much of his time putting them on the cartoon. Sleeping Beauty, Little Mermaid, Bambi, XYZ, fill in the blank. You know, you got the picture. Now, we could assume that all religious ideas came from people. Nowhere else. But the problem though is that in order to believe this, you would also have to assume that we, as in humanity, came from absolutely nothing. Nothing. We didn't come from anywhere. We just, here we are, in all of our radiant glory. There's a problem. You know what the problem is? Because while atheism answers the question, well, maybe not entirely from my point of view, but anyway, atheism may have some sort of answer as to where we are going, but it cannot answer the question of where we came from. Question mark. You just don't know where you came from. And if you don't know where you came from, who or what are you living for? I can be a social atheist, be for change, promote social reform all I want to. But deep down inside, something's going to be missing. And I'm going to be willing to fill that nothingness, or that void, with something. Every day, I'm going to want to wake up and do something to fill that void. I don't know what. Fill in the blank. Some smoke, some drink, some go to wild parties, some people just have a good time with their friends, but ultimately, they're all different symptoms, but the root is all the same. You would be trying to find something to fill your life with. And I think that's the issue here, is that you don't know what that something is. But once again, I'm assuming. But anyway, in closing, just because there is not evidence for something does not necessarily mean that that something does not exist or had a point of origin. So, having said that, I will say goodbye and yeah, goodbye.